One of the main questions I get when coaching students for Amazon e-commerce business is how much time and money is it really going to take for me to get my Amazon e-commerce business off the ground and up and running? You want to know the answer? Stick with me and I'll let you know.
Nine University is a team, and we have to share what we know with the world, with you. It's not about what we offer, it's about gaining knowledge and expertise from real people, building real businesses that you can apply to yourself. Let's freaking get it. Nine University. It's who we are.
All right, so welcome back to another Tips for New Sellers segment with Sharon. I'm your host, and I will be giving you my perspective of how much time and how much money it really takes for a new Amazon seller to get their business off the ground. Of course, there are multiple ways to sell on Amazon, and of course, there are multiple perspectives of how much money and how much time it's going to take. So these are my perspectives, what I have launched with, what I am coaching my students towards, and if you like it, give me a thumbs up. All right, so we're going to start with time. There's a lot of things that you're going to consider as far as what takes up your time, but I listed the main ones that I can think of right now and the ones that you definitely need before you start an Amazon e-commerce business. The first one is gaining the knowledge. You definitely need time to gain the knowledge. It's so much more than just buying low and selling high. There are methods out there, there are procedures, there are criteria out there that will help you be successful when starting an Amazon e-commerce business. So gaining the knowledge, I would say it could take you anywhere from 3 months to 6 months of knowledge, depending on your comprehension level and speed. I would not suggest, of course, that's 3 weeks or a month and that's it. And now you're considered a novice pro to sell on Amazon. Yes, I said novice pro. So I would say a suitable amount of time based on your comprehension for that. Product research. It took me 6 months to find my first product and get it up to first sale. However, with the right knowledge, and I do believe in KT9, you could possibly do that in, let's say, 45 to 90 days. Yes. All right. It takes a little bit of time to learn how to do product research and feel confident in the method that you choose to decide on a product to sell. Once you decide on a product that you're going to sell, negotiations come into play. Whoever you may negotiate with, 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be Alibaba if you're searching outside of the United States. And if it's Alibaba, they have their standard times. So I would say it'll take you about 3 to 4 weeks to negotiate back and forth with the negotiator. It could be a lot sooner if you have the tools, the negotiation tools set in place. Try that. Look out for that academy for negotiations. But I'll say 2 to 4 weeks, right? And then after you've got you and your supplier have come to terms on a price, logistics coordination, right? This is the part that really takes a long time, right? Because once you decide to put down the money or whatever, it takes the supplier 30 to 45 days to make typically, and then 25 to 35 days, for shipping by sea. So you're already at 2.5, 3 months right there just for having the inventory made. And if you are the type to deliberate or have cold feet, you can add a two weeks time frame on top of that because it does happen. It happened to me 2 years ago when I first started selling. I was uncertain about the product. I'm like, am I making the right choice? I have never paid more than $5,000 for anything outside of my house or my cars. Yeah, it's a scary situation and it's understandable. So adjust for that time frame. And then once you get your shipment in to Amazon, usually it will take 3 to 10 days, but because of what's going on right now, their current time frame is 2 to 3 weeks. So add 2 or 3 weeks on top of that. All right? And those are the hardest part that comes to time because after that, it's all about getting sales and getting reviews. So after you got your first sale, you just don't kick up your feet and watch everything roll in. This is a business. This is a job. You have to put time and effort into it. And as far as time goes, for beyond your first sale, when I got my first sale 2 years ago, I was putting in 2 to 3 hours a day, making sure everything's good to go, trying to put my product out in front of more faces, in front of more buyers to see if I can get more sales. So that's the time. Hopefully that helps you. Next thing we got is the money. This is the big one. Everybody want to know how much money is it going to take for me to get my business off the ground. Well, I can first tell you that this right here is going to be different for everybody, every product, every category. every platform really, because what you can get for $1 a unit will be different from my product where I get it for $5 a unit, right? So it just really does depends on the product in the category that you're researching or that you're intending on buying in, and the amount of tools and education you need to comprehend the complexity of this type of business. So, first and foremost, paying for knowledge. That rolls right into that. KT9's basic program, it gives you everything from A to Z on how to sell. More people want more information. There are or advanced tactics, and if you want more, you got to pay for more, right? And that's not just KT9. That's any business. You pay for a bachelor. You want more degrees, you got to pay for a master's. You pay for an associate's. You want a bachelor, you got to pay for the bachelor's, right? Knowledge costs. It really do. Product research tools. All right, so a product research tool, if it's going to take you 3 to 6 months to find your product, so most of these product research tools have a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription. Decide which one is for you. I would say put aside $500 for 5 months worth of product research. Administrative setup. There's a lot of things that can go into administrative setup. Deciding what type of business license you want, setting up your Amazon Seller Central account, domain purchases, website setups, whatever it is that you plan on doing for your Amazon business. What I think the bare minimum is to decide what business license you want, open up an Amazon Seller Central account, making sure you are prepared financially to have your taxes done up at the top of the year. So I would say an LLC specifically can cost anywhere from $100 to $800, depending on the state that you're in. Amazon setup is $39 if you're selling it in .com. Website subscriptions or website domain names could be as little as $6 a month, depending on who you go with, or X number of dollars a year. It just depends. Listing preparations. This includes pictures, copyright for your actual listings, finding out the keywords that's going to benefit your product the best. There are people that do freelancers that will charge to do all of this work for you. You could definitely do it on your own if you have the skills. You can definitely choose to do Photoshop instead of actual photos. It just depends on what you want to do. Now, as far as photos go, they can go from $100 to $2,000. It just depends on the professionalism and the superiority of the Photoshop or the photos, right? Because in all actuality, the photos is what sells on Amazon. Listing prep, that could take anywhere from $15 if you go with somebody on Fiverr to $500 if you go with a professional that has a record of presenting top priority listing optimizations. And then your launch strategy. Now, this one is a little bit tricky. I tell people to break their budget for this type of business into three sections rather, 40, 40, 20. That's 40% for your first order of 500 units or whatever number of units you're going to buy, 40% for the second order of however many units that you're going to buy. And the reason why those are two sections inside of your budget is because of time. As I said before, it takes 35 to 45 days to have your product made, another 35 days to have your product shipped. That means the first order has to last at least 2 to 3 months. And you have to have the money for your second order up front, because if you're waiting for the profits of your first order to come, Amazon is going to pay you twice a month, and it's not going to be enough to get started and actually take advantage of that time that you could be potentially wasting, so that you won't run out of inventory. So as soon as you know you need a second order of inventory, you need to have the money right then and there so that you can get your supplier started on making your product. And the last section of that 3-section budget is launch money. You definitely need a little bit of money to get your product off the ground. It takes money to make money, right? It takes money to make money. So things like flyers, if you're doing that, aggressive advertisement, if you're doing that, flying across the states to look for investors, whatever the case may be, or talk to family and talk about how important it is to have your friends support your business, their friends to support your business. Whatever it's going to take to get your product off the ground, you need to put aside a little bit of money to do that. Inventory. All right, so this is the one that varies the most. There are inventory that costs 20 cents out there and it can be sold for $10. There are inventory out there that are $10 that can be sold for $100. And then there's inventory that can cost $1,000 and be sold for $5,000. So it depends on the product that you're going to sell, and how many units that you're going to buy. All right, shipping, that's another thing. It should never be. I would hope. I would hope that shipping from your supplier to Amazon would be no more than a third of the cost of what it costs to make your product. So if it takes your product $6 to make, it should probably take no more than $2. Now that's just a very rough estimate. You would definitely need to put your parameters inside of a freight forwarder calculations to see if you are going to be paying buku amount of money. Overall, the bottom line is I would tell my students that you need around $6,000 to $8,000 to feel comfortable about launching a certain product that is priced between $15 and $50. All right, sometimes that's a sticker shock for them, but then I tell them how I break that budget down, and then it makes sense. All right, some deviances to that is instead of having the full amount for your second order, you can have half of it up front and wait for the other half out of your profits from the first order sales. So there's ways to work around it, but overall, I would tell students $6,000 to $8,000. Hopefully, this helped you and brought perspective. Here again, this is my perception of what time and what money it takes to start an Amazon business. People have done it with far less. People have done it with far more. For instance, my first product, I spent $15,000 getting it off the ground. Right, my second product, I spent $6,000 getting it off the ground. Don't forget that. Have a good day. See you on the next one. Bye.